and today we're going to be reviewing the Motley Fool and its stock advisor service. In this review, I'm going to answer almost all your questions, as many as I have time for, that you previously had on Stock Advisor. And if we missed anything, any good questions or anything else, please don't hesitate to just send me an email or write it down in the comments, and I can answer whenever I can. So let's get down to it. First off, is it worth the money? So I'll give you my honest opinion and then you can be the judge. But don't worry, I'll cover everything from the good to the bad. And I'll even dive into the details and show you some screenshots of the actual product. So just keep watching to find out. I also wrote a blog that can be found in the description of this video. If you don't have the time to watch the full thing, you can just click here to skip to my final conclusion on the Fool's Stock Advisor service. So, what is the Motley Fool Stock Advisor and why should I care? You probably already know a little about the Motley Fool and their products. You may have seen some of their posts or articles on social media where they provide insights on the stock market. However, here's a brief recap of what they do. So, the Motley Fool is a stock picking service whose primary goal is to help you take control of your future and become financially free. It was founded by David and Tom Gardner in 1993, and the Fool Stock Advisor service has one and only purpose: to help the world invest better. And the Stock Advisor is Motley Fool's flagship product. Every month, the Gardner brothers will present 12 US stock recommendations that are sent via email and available on their website. So here's how it works. On every first Thursday of the month, Tom presents one stock recommendation. Then every second Thursday of the month, David presents one stock recommendations, and on every third Thursday of the month, Tom presents 5 stock recommendations, and then every fourth Thursday of the month, David presents another 5 stock recommendations. So as you might have noticed, Thursday is obviously a big day here. It's key, and that's when fresh new stocks will be available for you. Think of this service as one of those Hollywood movies where the cop, or you, knows a confidential informant, Motley Fool, that knows all the juice, the good stocks, and shares the stuff that happens in the underground world, or the stock market. Since the stocks have already been analyzed and reviewed for you, all you have to do is invest. It makes life pretty easy, and if you're having doubts about one of their suggestions or would like to know more about that stock, you can always pull up the coverage page, which will display the analysis of that stock. If you don't have time to read the whole article, you can always just look on the right side of the panel where you can find the 1-minute presentation, which I find is a very useful feature. So, why should you care about the Motley Fool Stock Advisor service? Simply because it can change your financial future. Not all of us have the time or the skills to scout and analyze the overall US market and its stocks. The Stock Advisor subscription is tailored for the individual investor, which I'll explain later in this Motley Fool review. So next, we'll be covering what you actually get by being a Stock Advisor member. So by being a member, you'll have access to the current and all historical best stocks to buy. These suggested stocks also have related articles should you wish to read more on that suggestion. You will also have access to their favorites page, which will track stocks you are interested in, and you'll be instantly alerted by the Fool when one of these 3 events occurs on your stock list. So the first is new buy alerts. The second is large price changes, and the third is when it is time to sell, which is obviously extremely important. You'll also have access to the Fool's research page, which presents premium articles and reports that relates to US stocks. Their reports page is very interesting and presents numerous trending topics in our society, such as virtual reality and self-driving. For example, they recently released a playbook that presents a few stocks that could benefit from Trump's presidency. This page is useful in creating the bridge between investing and the innovative and trending topics of our time. The Stock Advisor also includes access to the community page, where you can use discussion boards to communicate with other fools. Another interesting concept is the Foolish Companies, where the boards are company-based. These boards are available to premium Fool members and can be useful in talking investing strategies with fellow community members. So, is it a scam or is it legit? So, first off, I can confidently say that no, the Motley Fool and their Stock Advisor service is definitely not a scam. People may get the wrong impression if they stumble upon tweets like these. However, you can find those tweets about anything these days. So the fact is that the Motley Fool has been in business since 1993 and employs more than 250 people. Not to mention, I've been a customer for over 3 years and haven't seen any reason to think it's a scam. Of course, as an investor, though, you should always do your own due diligence and investigate the company before taking any of their investment advice. But here are just a few of my findings on the Motley Fool and its services. There's no question it's a legit company that is very well among investors in the finance and trading community. They even have their own mutual fund, which is the Motley Fool Global Opportunities Fund Investor Shares, also known as FoolX. Also, the Fool brothers don't try to hide from their customers, which is always a good sign. They're very active in the investment community, and for example, they often have interesting ideas on their certified Twitter page. And as I was writing the article, the market is currently having its worst day in 8 months. The Motley Fool just tweeted an idea on 2 blue chip stocks that can help us through this market downturn. So thank you, Fool Brothers. And the Gardner brothers are also active in the traditional media where they appear on news websites such as AOL News. So here's another interesting piece on their ups and downs with Amazon.com. They first purchased it in September 1997. So, will the Motley Fool SA actually help you make more money? In short, the answer is yes. I mean, that's been proven by their past performance. You can read more about their performance here. But also, I've been paper trading almost all their stock picks on my own to validate their claims, and I've seen similar results. You can check out my article in the description for that, but here are some other additional insights. So, first off, it is true that there are many free options to explore apart from the Motley Fool SA, but after testing a bunch of them, I paper traded multiple stock advising services, and the Motley Fool provided the most optimal returns and the best bang for my buck. Second, the Stock Advisor is now cheaper than ever for only $19 a month or $99 for 1 year with a 30-day 100% membership refund period. And third, I do agree that this service should be considered as a cost in your portfolio's return, but what if you can recover that fee with better stock picks and higher returns? In other words, you will have to consider this as one of your investment fees, but the stock picks will generate higher overall portfolio return versus a portfolio's return without a paid subscription. And like with any other investment advisory firm, it is true that their investment strategies are obviously not 100% guaranteed. However, they do keep full transparency and will alert you when to close a position. They also display their past closed positions and how much it has returned. My recommendation would be to set stop losses based on your risk aversion with trailing percentages and or fixed prices. Lastly, after testing their advising service, I was actually amazed at how much money I made. I also feel that their service is very cheap compared to other alternatives. For example, Zacks Investor Service is almost 3 times the price of the Motley Fool SA. So next, does the Motley Fool SA cover penny stocks? Unfortunately, no. It doesn't cover penny stocks as it focuses more on blue chip stocks, which are large and well-established companies in their respective industry. Penny stocks are stocks of small publicly traded companies that are trading at very low prices per shares, generally less than $5, and such stocks are usually really extremely volatile. And for penny stocks, I would suggest looking into Timothy Skies, a penny stock trader who made $1.65 million by trading as a university student. Tim is now a financial educator and activist, where he donated $1 million to build schools in countries such as Ghana and Indonesia. Tim also has a couple of teaching segments that you might find interesting, and links will be posted in the description. And so you may be asking, what about technical analysis? Well, technical analysis involves analyzing and forecasting the direction of stock prices. Technical analysis focuses primarily on historical data, such as stock prices and volume. And the Stock Advisor service is based on the fundamental analysis, which is the study of a company's financial statements, their competitors, the overall health of the company, and other things like that. And when investing for the long term, it is best to analyze a stock's fundamental strategy, which can define its strengths, weaknesses, and the overall value of a company. With the Motley Fool's SA, the fundamental examination has already been taken care of, where you can read the analysis in their stock reports. However, if you are an enthusiast of technical analysis, you can always perform your own research with the Fool's recommendations. So next, we'll be talking about the Motley Fool essay's impact on day traders. So day trading basically involves buying and selling stocks on the same day. I personally believe it's pretty hard to be a successful day trader. I mean, just think about it. You would have to put a heavy amount of cash on one single position and make round-trip transactions on one day to be profitable. As an individual investor, I wouldn't be comfortable having a large position on one stock. The Motley Fool's essay is a service that is not suited for day trading, in my opinion. It's more focused on buy and hold portfolios, which seek capital growth, and that involves a lot less stress and growth for the long term. So will the Motley Fool essay make me rich? I mean, that depends. Rich is relative. So what is rich for you? From my personal standpoint, I believe being rich is when you have more wealth than the previous time frame. So you're richer if you have $1 more than yesterday. So in that case, will the Motley Fool essay make you rich? Most probably, but this is still subjective and contingent on what you believe is rich. So then, what is the Motley Fool essay good for? I believe this is the easiest way to enter the world of investments and trading. Being exposed to stock recommendations and what the Gardner brothers have discovered will help you pinpoint exactly what is essential in managing a portfolio, whether that's for general knowledge or of the market or just for using your investment purposes. I believe the Stock Advisor is a tool that you should really have in your trading bookmarks. You don't need a fancy degree or a job at Goldman Sachs to make money in the stock market. The Motley Fool has made it really easy and affordable for regular people just to start investing and to start making real returns. So in conclusion, is the Motley Fool essay worth the money? And in short, I would say yes, it is definitely worth the money. If you skipped my entire article and came right down to this conclusion, I mean, good for you. I would probably do the same. I don't have the time to watch all of it. But I would say the Stock Advisor service is most definitely for you. It's saved me so much time and money over the past few years. And I mean, I've been a customer for over 3 years, and I can say it's definitely been worth it. The reason I think it's worth the money is because it pays for itself. That means it's basically free. The math is very simple. If you take advantage of this offer now, then the service will only cost around $20 a month. So that means that for it to pay for itself, it only has to produce one trade that makes at least $20. And so here's an example. If I invest $10,000 in their recommended stock, and that stock increases by only 0.5%, which is nothing, then I would make $50 that month. Basically 10,000 times 0.5, which is 50. So now, if I subtract the $20 I paid for the Fool subscription, I'm still up $30 a month. So it becomes even more interesting when you look at the whole year instead of just 1 month. Especially since I don't have time to invest every single month, I often skip months and just look at my overall performance for the year. So for example, if I paid $99 for the year for the subscription and invest $10,000, let's say I only make a minimal 5% per year, which is, I mean, very, very little, because, I mean, historically, stocks average at least an 11.69% return. So that would basically mean that I would make $500, which is 10,000 times, again, 0.5. So now if I subtract the $99 I paid for the Fool, I'm still up $400 for the year. So I mean, obviously, clearly it's a no-brainer when you take a closer look into the math. So in conclusion, just don't forget the Fool service is on sale right now. You can click on the link in the video or description to take advantage of the offer. It's not going to last really long, so I suggest doing it as soon as you can. And yes, and this has been Greg from Wall Street Survivor. Thank you so much for watching this review. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Take care. See you around.
So this is a service that I've been using for quite a few years. Using them to kind of get some ideas on stocks, which ones are the good ones to buy, hopefully make some money and just not lose any money. So Here I'm going to give you my kind of review, what I think of it, what the features I like and the features I don't like, and if I've made any money on it. So first thing is the cost. The cost on this guy is about $53 per year, so it's relatively cheap compared to a lot of other services out there. I think for $53, it's a great tool to kind of learn stocks with, especially if you're new to stocks, you don't kind of know what to buy. Maybe you have a couple stocks you're thinking of buying, Apple or Google or Facebook, but you don't really know, is this the time to buy it? Is $500 a lot of money for the stock, or is it not a lot of money for the stock? It's kind of hard to kind of put a price on stocks because the prices fluctuate, the market is we an uptrend, downtrend, all these kind of complicated things, and there's PE ratios and all this complicated stuff. You don't have to know all that stuff, because what's great about the stock advisory is they make it simple for you. They kind of say, this is the time to buy, this is the time to sell. So basically, Stock Advisor gives you the what, who, and why. What stocks to buy, who to buy, and why you should buy it. So here at the home page here, and you can see there's today's top guidance, the best buys now. Basically, this comes out some new stock ideas that you can pick, and then every month there's about there's Team David and Team Tom, and each side gives you about 5 stocks that they recommend at this time, and you can kind of see the different performances. As you can see, David's performance is high right now, so maybe you want to follow along his stuff, or maybe you just prefer Tom's kind of style. But you can see both of them are outperforming the S&P 500, which is important because that's kind of the benchmark. So if you don't want to think about choosing any stocks at all, you can just buy something called SPY, which is basically an index of the top 500 stocks. So as we look through here, what I personally like to do is I like to find stocks that I have like an emotional attachment to, or that I like. So let's say Walt Disney World, for example. This right now is a best buy, so that's probably something I'd look at. Some of these other brands like maybe Kinder Morgan, not too familiar with. You can click in here and you can read why they think this is a good time to buy it. You can get different updates on this kind of thing, and you can grow your portfolio. You can go here to the latest tips, and it gives you the best buy now, is just a rundown of the risk level, who's recommending it. And then I like this starter stocks. So this is always, well, they're not always changing it, but there's a good couple starter stocks if you've never purchased any stocks before. Just some good ones to kind of get in and get your feet wet, if you will. Now the Fool invests in the long term, so all their recommendations are at least keep it 5 to 7 years, which I agree with. Of course, it's easier for them to be right on their stocks if you're keeping a stock for 5 to 7 years. But I think it's too stressful for me to be buying and selling each month. I just buy it, hold on to it long term. Me personally, I plan on holding it to 15 to 20 years, if not longer, because if you put yourself in that kind of situation, it's not like you're taking money you necessarily need for rent or make credit card payments. This is just excess money that you have, and I recommend putting a little money each aside each month, whether it's $50, $100, scale that out depending on your income. So this is kind of under hold here. They had made recommendations before, and now they're saying, you know what, we shouldn't, don't buy any more of these stocks. And under the sell stocks, so they've changed their mind, and that's kind of nice to like, oh, let's say you purchased, Amazon, and 8 years down the road things go sideways. They're going to recommend you sell the stock when it's the time to get out. They're recommending this because actually Amazon purchased Whole Foods, so they're saying basically if you want Amazon stock, buy Amazon stock, but don't hold Whole Foods just to get more Amazon stock. So we have a couple other things as well. You have access to tools. You can look at the stock screen, or you can create your own watch list, which is cool. And kind of track, see how the ones that you purchased are doing. There's articles are very informative. I really like the articles that you can actually get free from the homepage, but you can start learning more about stocks and things like that. The bonus reports, I don't read this too often, but it's kind of a neat thing they put out some bonus reports just for if you're a Fool member here, and the kind of like inside of Cars Tomorrow, so kind of tips that you want to look out for. Now, as far as the stocks that I made the most from by using this service, again, I've been using it for probably 7 to 8 years, and that would be Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, and Google. Now, I might have purchased those by myself on my own, kind of just because I like those companies, but because they came up as best buys, I was like, you know what, now feels like a good time. They're saying the price seems right, and I'm going to go ahead and purchase these stocks. Those have been huge gainers for me. I have had a couple losers that basically I picked a stock that they recommended and it went way down. Those were Under Armour, TripAdvisor, and a company called DDD that does 3D printing. Now they all of them lost about half their value. All in all, I'm way ahead considering how many stocks I've purchased through here. So it's good to get a good basket, you know, maybe 15 to 20 stocks that you can invest in, and kind of go with that. You don't want to just do one stock and then just sit on it and see how it goes. You want to kind of put your money, maybe you're putting $100 into each bucket, if you will. That way you're hedging yourself. So a couple other nice things that the Stock Advisor has is they have a free weekly podcast that I like to listen to. You know, maybe at the beginning you don't really understand what a lot of these terms are that they're talking about, but over time you start picking more and more things up, and it just kind of keeps your interest in stocks and makes you want to go back for more and investigate more, and the more that you get into it, the more you learn. Now I have a couple other subscriptions I'll talk about in a different video called the Motley Fool Options, but I definitely recommend before you get into options, you just start with stocks, kind of build that up, and then if you really like stocks and you want to get into something more advanced, there's the Motley Fool Options, and they have a couple, actually a lot of different things like hidden gems. So these are companies that are new and kind of maybe under, no one's really seen them, but they think they're going to explode. So there's a lot of different things depending on how much money you have to spend. Each service is a different amount of money, and it's generally renewable once a year. But I think the biggest benefit to the Fool is kind of the educational services they provide for someone who really doesn't know much about anything investing, because unless you go do like a college course, they don't really teach you much about money and financing and things like that in the school system. So you kind of have to go out and investigate on your own time. So hopefully you guys liked the video. I would definitely give this a thumbs up and give this a try if I were you. For 53 bucks, I think it's well worth its value. And then you can grow off of that. There's a couple other places that I want to review. So if you're interested in stocks and things like that, keep an eye out for new videos. If you guys like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks.